Emotep, 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 Emotep. I'm John Renton with the Retro Review of, yes, The Mummy, one of the most entertaining action comedies of all time. I would put this on my top 50 movie list of all time, in all honesty, because I'm so entertained every fucking time I watch it. The Mummy Returns, sort of, except for the PlayStation 2 Rock the Dwayne Johnson graphic. Oh, fucking boy, that was really goddamn weird, wasn't it? And Mummy, Tomb of the Forbidden Kingdom. I mean, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, even though you really can't fucking tell the difference. Really, The Mummy, once again, The Mummy, the epitome of entertainment. That's Mummytainment, as it were. Let me know your thoughts on this movie in the comments, please. It's so fucking great. It's just so fucking... I fucking love this movie. It's on HBO Max. Actually, the entire Mummy collection is. And I'm so entertained every time I watch it. They blend action and comedy. And Brendan Fraser... I'm so glad he's getting a chance to make a comeback after all the bullshit that he had to go through and being basically blacklisted from Hollywood because he didn't want to, I guess, play nice according to some fucking idiots. But Brendan Fraser deserves every bit of support in this comeback. He really should have been one of the biggest stars. I'm not saying that he's the best actor ever, but Brendan Fraser 100% deserved to go really, really far. Sure, he made some choices as far as movies that didn't work out all that well. So did a lot of other actors. So, written and directed by Stephen Sommers, who did the live-action 1994 version of The Jungle Book, Deep Rising, that I also retro-reviewed. You can check that out. It was involving Treat Williams and tentacles. Not tentacle hentai, thankfully. The Mummy Returns, Van Helsing, which, well, it featured Kate Beckinsale in a lot of nice outfits. That was really about the best part of it. And also G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra. The Rise and Thighs of Cobra. Enough of that. Let's talk about the movie. It's also written by Lloyd Fonavelle. It did something called Cherry 2000. No idea what that is. It sounds like some kind of meta-commentary on women losing their virginity before the Y2K bug took over. So, also Kevin Jarre, who did Rambo First Blood and then Part 2, Glory, and Tombstone. Tombstone would be something interesting to retro review, but yes, Brendan Fraser is in this. And there's a character of Evelyn played by the incredibly fucking gorgeous Rachel Weisz. My goodness, Rachel Weisz is a goddamn goddess. Good grief, I fucking love her in this. And she still looks good now. Apparently, she's a fucking immortal. She was, I want to say, around 30 when this came out. And you have John Hannah playing the comic guy, you know, the comedic timing of a man named Jonathan as opposed to me. And Arnold Vosloo, who I'm convinced... is the long-lost brother of Billy Zane. And I know that some people, there are lookalikes out there, but look at them side by side. That mother has some explaining to do. And there was Kevin J. O'Connor, who played Benny, who was also in Deep Rising. And there's Jonathan Hyde. There's Oded Fair, who fared better after this. Oh boy, that was a real bad pun. As well as Eric Ari. Or Awari, I think is how it's said. But yes, it's about a mummy that is resurrected that wants to bring his love, Anck-su-namun, back from the dead. The actress who played Anck-su-namun was also the ghost in The Curse of La Llorona, which I wanted to like a lot more than I did. So, yeah, an archaeological dig and battle ends up releasing a mummy from the cursed city of Hamunaptra. That somehow people are able to get to pretty easily, despite the fact that it is seen as the city of the dead and was once a thriving community, the Hamunaptra community, as it were. People are able to get to it pretty regularly. Despite the fact a bunch of people say they haven't seen it, a lot of people just manage to get to it, but whatever, nevertheless. Only Rick, Evelyn, Jonathan, and Oded Fair Oded Fair, who, by the way, is Ardith Bay. I had to basically say that right. I'm just going to call him Oded, because that's a lot easier saying Ardith. They must save and kill the creature. It's hard to believe he was in a bunch of those Resident Evil movies that all blended together. But this is how you do action and comedy correctly. Stephen Sommers was at the peak of his fucking powers here. The Mummy Returns less so, even though there were some good moments to it. Naturally, with how wildly successful this movie was, they were going to do a sequel. But, in the beginning, there was rap, and also Egyptians. We see Imhotep, Arnold Vosloo's character, who loves Anck-su-namun, the high priestess, who no other man was allowed to touch her, but he did. And there was ink all over her body, so if any man did, even if he brushed by her accidentally, well, then they were put to death. or put to death rather. The high priest ends up getting killed, and then a bunch of gold painted guys end up getting killed. I'd mummify guys that were painted in gold as well, and and then they curse Imhotep with the most egregious goddamn curse, where we see Scarabo Fair. Boy, I'm really digging deep for these puns here. And if he should rise, he will have the powers over the sands and the glory of invincibility. I don't think the Egyptians understood how curses work, because, okay, we're going to curse him, and we're going to curse him for all eternity, but if he rises, he'll have all this shit. No wonder the Egyptians were wiped out as far as a society, because they didn't understand how fucking curses worked. The action scenes were quick and effective and great and well scoped. Stephen Sommers understood exactly what to do here, and Brendan Fraser was fucking phenomenal. And him and Benny had a friendship, I guess, but Benny basically screwed him over, because you would expect a whiny little Caucasian bastard like that, wait, I feel attacked, to do something like that. Rachel Weisz, oh Jesus, Rachel Weisz, oh fucking Christ, god damn it, you want to talk about gorgeous, that gorgeous right there in every sense of the word, and she was great in this. She's been great in some other dramas and stuff like that. I mean, maybe not The Dream House, but she just looks fucking phenomenal. She basically can read, can read and write ancient Egyptian. She can translate all this stuff and whatever, and she has a brother, Jonathan, who is basically a drunk and has pissed away his fortune. Naturally, Rick and Evelyn eventually end up developing chemistry after Rick is captured, and this one guy that I'm going to call Egyptian Mario, because that's what he looks like, he was going to hang him, but then she made a deal and said, aha, he knows a deal, he knows a way to get to Hamunaptra, we'll give you this percent, 30, 25, aha, deal. God, she's got a fucking great smile. I'm done gushing about Rachel Weisz, I promise. But then we get them on a steamboat, on a steam riverboat, as it were, as opposed to a steam landboat. And there's a bunch of other people that Benny is leading, a bunch of Americans that just pop up out of fucking nowhere, but basically they need to be served as, or they serve as the bodies that will be sacrificed to revive Imhotep, as it were. Later, there's something out there, something underneath that sand. What do you think it is? In the word, evil. People believe Hamunaptra is cursed. And then a bunch of cloak guys that Oded Fair leads somehow managed to get onto the boat. And oh, I see, it's okay when a cloak guy, pins down a British brunette, but when I do that, don't do that. Just don't do that. This is for humor. That's it. And apparently these cloak guys were, soaked in oil-soaked, like literally oil-soaked clothing, because they go up like just crazy. And then everybody separates. They're on opposite sides of the river. Looks like to me, Benny, you're on the wrong side of the river. And then they basically have to find a way to get, camels. They have to find a way to get out to Hamunaptra. And then everybody meets. The sunrise shows the way to the city. They go back to Hamunaptra constantly for a city that is apparently hidden. And Hamunaptra, here we go again. My, the sands will kill you. And so basically, bugs. I hate bugs because Egyptian Mario hates bugs, and that ends up being his undoing. So the banter is just very well done, I will say. We get jeweled scarabs getting into an Egyptian Mario's head, and he runs in and, just hits the wall and stuff like that. Rachel Weisz sees this tomb that got, taken down, or that fell down. It was Imhotep's tomb. Oh, he must have done something of great importance, or he did something very naughty. I promise you, I was perfectly fine hearing a British woman say that. See, told you I wasn't done gushing about her. And basically, these diggers, that I said diggers, Hulk, put away that spray. God damn it, Hulk. What are you doing here? You're supposed to be doing bullshit in WCW at this point. Anyway, these melted, Egyptian digger guys just end up getting sprayed with acid salt. And then we get to, we get to, Imhotep being raised because there's this Book of the Dead. Oh no, you must not read from the book. But how else? I mean, you got to have the second half of the movie, so you got to read from the book. But there was also the whole thing about this chest, that death will come on swift wings to whoever so opens this chest. There is one, the undead, who, if brought back to life, is consummated by this curse. He will assimilate the organs and fluids of everybody that opened it, and in doing so will regenerate and be a plague upon this earth. Or something like that. I probably kind of screwed up that second part, I apologize. But the 10 plagues of Egypt are coming! But after she reads from the book, well, the chase is on, it's on the screen. Imhotep sees Evelyn as an Oxuna Moon. I'm just saying Rachel Weisz is hotter. Not saying that the actress playing the Oxuna Moon is ugly, not at all. Just preference. But you have unleashed a creature that we have feared for more than 3,000 years, Oded Fehr says. And then Benny ends up at this one point confronted by Imhotep. He's got all these religious things on his necklace. And he just says all this stuff, and then he says Hebrew, and then Imhotep says the language of the slaves. God damn it, Walt Disney was a frickin' mummy as well. If you get it, you get it. I may have use for you. Get me it's like, tell me where the rest of these sacred jars are, because I can't speak Egyptian, so I'm just translating according to that. And then it turns out that Benny is basically his Renfield, his Benfield, as it were. And there's one guy that got his eyes and his tongue taken, but then he gets mummified. Everybody else gets mummified. Rick O'Connell says we are in serious trouble. There's also a friend of his that is an old British pilot named Winston. So old, I think he remembers when Britain was first colonized, or colonized, as it were. And he is scared of cats. And I just don't understand. I don't understand this. I don't understand how you can be scared of cats. How could you be scared of this? How could you be scared of cats? Look at this face. Look at this face. Hi. Why do you hate me? Why do you hate me? I'll give you a treat after this. Hey, look at the camera. Whoop. Okay. Go ahead and lay down. You'll get a treat here in about, I don't know, 10 minutes. Enjoy the producer tale right there. But yeah, he's scared of cats because cats were the guardians of the underworld. I cannot imagine this cat guarding the underworld. He would just sleep on the tomb. You'd sleep on the tomb, and you're big enough. You're 20 pounds. You'd be able to do that? God, you are so pissed at me right now. Anyway, let's get back to the review. So, it's like, this creature, has come back, and now, thanks to you, we have failed. And you think this justifies the killing of innocent people? Let me think. To stop this creature? Yes! The banter's just so good. Also, fun fact, they actually had to make Brendan Fraser and Oded Fehr seem like the same height. And I mean, they're somewhat close, but I believe Brendan's a little bit taller. And Brendan was like just naturally short. I think Oded Fehr even said on the commentary for this that at one point he's trying to hold him back, and he's really having to try because Brendan, I don't think, understood how stout he actually was. And Oded Fehr's not a small guy. But then he wants to sacrifice Evelyn as a way to bring back a Noxuna Moon. You could just go with Evelyn. She's hotter. Anyway, enough of that. Rick knows that Benny is in on it, because of course he does, because why would you not trust a slimy Caucasian? Wait, I'm attacking myself again. And these remaining guys that are alive, I'll get you your damn bourbon. And it turns out that Imhotep hates the goddamn drinking, because he decides to spin him around in a sandstorm, deep hurting, and kill him. Anybody that's a non-MST3K fan has no idea what that deep hurting reference means. And he got destroyed and drained. And then, of course, at one point when he kisses Evelyn and while she's asleep, oh, I see, it's okay when a mummy actor does that. But when I do it, then Rick shows up. Oh, look what I got. I pick up the producer, but he is really mad at me right now. But the Imhotep called Imhotep, boo, Imhotep, boo, Imhotep. And then there's a gold book that is basically going to be able to kill him, because the black book that ended up bringing him back to life. See, I knew the Brittany Murphy movie was going to end up being a curse, and I don't even think it was out yet at this point. He is back to form. They're going to rescue Evelyn eventually. They had to part ways for the third act. And then basically, Rick gets his friend Winston, who again was around when Britain was first colonized, as it were. They fly into the desert, and a sandstorm ends up taking them down deep, hurting. And the only way to save is for Rachel Weisz to distract by kissing Arnold Vosloo. It would distract me, and I certainly would forget my lines. And they get into the tomb, and then the priests, Imhotep's priests, and all these people, and then we get mummies getting cut with swords and heads taken off and shot and all that, and we get we then get Rachel Weisz being tied up again. Again, I see what happens when a mummy can tie up a British brunette, but when I do it, it's suddenly an international law issue. Save the girl, kill the creature. Ah! And Odette Fair somehow manages to survive an explosion, but whatever. We need a sequel hook. And then they end up reviving some priests, or some guards, that Jonathan can end up controlling inadvertently by, just saying some incantations. Anck-su-namun gets killed. Imhotep gets his spirit taken away when Evelyn is able to read from this book. He's killed. Benny gets destroyed by a bunch of scarabs, and they have some treasure to basically have a fortune for the next goddamn movie. And that's pretty much it. And they are on to the sequel. And now, yep, you can't be scared of cats. You can't be scared of a face like that. Hi. So anyway, agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritland. This is the producer. Hi. And I'll see you soon. But the Mummy's terrific. See you soon.